All right, CrossFit Strongsville, here is your week 3 mobility assignment for the new year, New You 2015 challenge. We're excited already. We're seeing some great results. Keep it coming. And a lot of you have been sticking to our mobility assignments, and especially, yeah, we love it, but especially I love the fact that you keep making fun of him throughout the process. So we enjoy that. So have at it, Elvis and Brian. Let's see what you got today. But anyway, we're going to talk about a couple of these different stretches for this week, and there's a little bit of a focus we'd like to share with you, especially wherein most of these stretches are going to target a lot of what happens up here, where we are able to either internally or externally rotate our shoulders. And the specifics on that, some of these movements might not feel like a tremendous stretch at first, but that's because we're trying to actually kind of drill into some of the deep, dark corners of your shoulder capsule, where a lot of us have limited range in some aspect. So we're kind of getting to the pieces parts of the smallest amount. And so that will all translate to better capability, better ability, especially with a lot of our overhead work, squat work, but of course, maintaining good, proper health for our upper trunk. So, this is going to be my demo girl this week, Coach Rick. He'll be demonstrating some cool stuff. First one, tricep stretch. This one's against the wall. When you're performing this movement, you're essentially going to use your elbow as a guide. So he's going to point his elbow to the wall and then sink into the movement a little bit. He can then move his feet out slightly to even further deepen the stretch. Once he's ready and kind of established, he's then going to take his other arm, grabbing the wrist or whatever acceptable spot you possibly can. And you can get a buddy to help you if you can't reach. And then pull to, again, strengthen that stretch even more away from, basically, the wall as best as possible. What we're going to ask you to do, and this is true of almost everything here, it's going to be 2 minutes on one side, and of course, breathing, contract, relaxing, kind of getting through maintaining proper patterns, and then you're going to go to the other side for 2 minutes. So that's homework. Part A of assignment 1. Assignment 2, or assignment B, I should say, number 1 is reverse sleeper stretch. So this one you're actually going to be on the floor, set up in basically a kneeling position. You're going to stay nice and tall, shoulders should be pulled back, and of course establishing the proper breathing technique. You're then going to take one arm behind the back and really kind of swoop over as far as you possibly can, while this other arm is going to need to open up and then as best as possible reach across the body to grab onto the elbow. Again, a friend can help you out, maybe if you need to adjust to make sure you have a good grip. From that point on, he is going to be fighting the resistance that the arm is pulling at this point. So it's important that that shoulder remains set into the capsule back while this elbow is being pulled away. You'll feel this instantly. We both did. And it's important that you kind of maintain this contract-relaxed relationship, or maybe you kind of squeeze against it like you're flexing, and then relax and let it kind of lengthen. Again, squeeze against it, kind of in cycles of maybe about 10 seconds to even 30 seconds each time. That further allows for the stretch. It's something we call PNF, or proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretching, okay? So,
if you don't feel that one, it's because you're not starting the repetition with your shoulder. If you're relaxed and you start, it's not going to have the same effect as if you start out shoulder rolled back and then pull away.
Exactly, perfect, nice. And if you didn't hear him too well because he's speaking like very white, he basically said you need to ensure that you pull your arm back or your shoulder back from the beginning. If you start here, you won't feel that stretch nearly as effectively. All right, so that's number 1. You get 1 point for completing both of those. Again, 2 minutes minimum per side. Bilateral internal rotation. This is going to be a bit of an interesting one. You're probably not going to feel this as strongly as you feel a lot of the others. The way this one is established is actually opening up your shoulders, pulling back, and putting both arms behind the small of your back, your lower back. And what that allows you to do is really pushing back onto that upper aspect of your rear shoulder capsule, kind of onto the shoulder blades and above. From this point on, he creates a deeper stretch by actually dropping his hip. And you should feel this kind of ramp through the upper pectoral, the front of your shoulder, a little bit more. Now, if you need a little friend so you can pick his hip back up, I can actually apply pressure by pushing down against that shoulder capsule as he drops.
Much more intense.
Much more intense, and I'm probably whispering sweet nothings to him the entire time. Okay, and this isn't weird at all with his positioning. So, anyway, again, 2 minutes on that one. You want to make sure you're hitting both sides. And then, lateral hip opener. He's going to position one leg in front of his body as best as possible, and he's going to take the opposite leg, and whether he's resting on the floor with the rear foot, or if he's resting on top, limits of your flexibility will dictate what he's able to do. That's going to be very important that you anchor this leg down. From that point, he's going to create stability by pulling his arm back, opening up that shoulder, and then reaching to the sky with the opposite, trying to go away from the hip that is anchored to the floor. This one you feel shooting, stretch kind of along the entire side of your body. Again, 2 minutes per side at a minimum, breathing normally, maintaining good core control. So, it's pretty good.
Trying to stay in the same line with your arms as your torso.
Exactly, great point. So he's trying to maintain the same line from the tops of the shoulders to the floor and above, okay? Lateral hip opener, so again, you complete both assignments, you get that second set of points. Then we move on. We're in A-Pelvis Reset. Now we've done this one in class a couple times, and this one's less about timing and more about rotations or reps. So in this setup, he's going to just maintain a position on the floor, lifting both legs up. In a bent position, he's going to simultaneously be pushing against this knee with one arm while pulling with the other, trying to maintain the same direct line for the knee positioning. He's holding these for about 5 seconds, and then he's going to flip-flop them. So one is going to pull while the other is pushing, contracting against that effort the entire time. We're going to do this at least for 3 to 5 rotations of 5 seconds each on both sides. And after he's completed that, he's actually going to grab some form of a med ball, and his feet will go flat to the floor, squeezing it in between his knees. This could be a basketball, this could be a couple of pillows that are kind of balled up, something that you can create resistance. He's then going to squeeze that ball as best as he can for a minimum of 5 seconds. Again, if you tend to experience maybe even like a popping sensation or something kind of feels like it would just set into place, then you just accomplished the entire task. If not, maybe you do it again a number of times until you start to feel like your hip is a little bit more secure. Okay? So, good, awesome. Last one, number 3. We've got bully stretch. So we've done this in class. This is much like what happens when a bully would come up behind you, or maybe if you're getting arrested by the cops. You have to put your arms behind your back. Good. So he's going to set up by holding on to some form of a stable, linear object that's upright. So that could be a pole in your basement, for instance, a door that is somehow secured. Anything would be fine. He then is going to, he's in this position, if you can't tell. The elbow is pulled to the side, and his palm is facing away from his back. From that point on, he's going to basically fall forward a little bit, setting into that stretch. You should be feeling this start to shoot right through the front of his shoulder as best as possible. He's going to maintain that, and this could be 2 minutes. Now, if you need to break it up, because maybe 30 seconds at a time you feel it, that's acceptable too, but still accumulate 2 minutes. And he's kind of playing with this. He's exploring end ranges of motions where he can feel he needs the stretch. Totally acceptable. That's position 1. Position 2, he's going to go out to his left a little bit more in this instance, and again, using the same foot to drive that. So now he's kind of hitting a deeper aspect, potentially even parts of the tops of his bicep tendon and pec minor, pec major in that aspect. So again, 2 minutes, and then the last one, he's going to shift to the side a little bit, kind of away from himself. And as he does that, we're again getting into a whole new range, so maybe even hitting some of the rear in that aspect. Again, holding on the entire time, accumulating 2 minutes. So, all good? Anything you can think of?
Should be good.
Should be good? All right, have fun. Gonna be a good week. We got some good workouts, and I'm starting to see some really awesome results. I hope you guys are too. So, have a great week, guys. Thanks.